I'm the CEO of Wisdom Game. I'm the machine that makes the big wheels roll here at Wisdom Game TV. Later on in this series, we're going to discuss whether or not we're all machines or we're human. We're going to talk about programming and how you can deprogram yourself. But in this particular series, this is the second in the Octave series, that is 8 series of videos unlocking the keys to the cosmic laws. So anyway, I'd just like to say, let's get started. Welcome, my friend. I'm presenting an understanding of the universal laws and the keys which unlock the universal laws. This is the second key. We're going on a little adventure together. I'm not a guru or an authority or anybody that can tell you anything, but if we walk along together for a few minutes, then both of us will understand more about ourselves. You know, over the temple in Delphi, the carving there says, let's take a look at that. How are you going to know yourself? How are you going to enter Socrates' temple? That probably looked something like this as he led the Greeks to a wonderful Renaissance. But now, unfortunately, this is what happens via time. Now I'm going to explain to you, through different synchronicities and concordances, the secret behind the second law of the universe. We're going to look at the Gospel of John and try to understand the idea of the Word. The second part we're going to look at are tarot cards. We're going to look at the Empress from the Bohemian deck and also the Empress from the Waite deck. And I want you to notice something, that the word Empress, which means the young princess, or the young queen really, Empress is very similar to the word that we use to make an impression, impress. So I'm going to make a little leap here and say that the secret of the universe is how you impress your word upon reality. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. This is a concordance. This is my King James Bible. It's a concordance. The word concordance means, well, it sort of means with strings attached, everything tied together. If we turn to John 1:1, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Words, of course, are vibrations we utter into air. And from your high school English, you remember the word was means first and third person singular, past indicative of be. Past indicative of be. And the word be is described as to exist in actuality, to have life in reality. I want you to know I love Jesus and I love God. I'm not trying to change the Bible here. This is just an interpretation I'm giving to illustrate the second cosmic law. We can look at John 1:1 and rephrase it as, in the beginning was an utterance, and the utterance existed in reality. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Now, let's look at the Bohemian second card, the Princess.
The first card is from the Bohemian deck. It shows the princess, sometimes called the Empress, holding some sort of book in her lap. I colored in this card. Nice! The next card is the Empress from the Waite deck. She's also holding written material. Forget about all the occult symbols here and concentrate on the action of the characters on the card. They're both reading. If you haven't seen the first video in this series, in that video we talked about the Emerald Tablets of Hermes and the first cosmic law, as above, so below. The second cosmic law, the one we're concerned about now, is everything is in motion.
Cards, the Emerald Tablets of Hermes, the New Testament, are all books of deep wisdom. Together, they form a concordance that says, making vibrations in air, making words, affects your reality. Books are made up of words. All books, whether they are kids' fairy tales, grown-up novels, scientific abstracts, they're all telling a story. The Old Testament is the story of the Jewish tribe. The New Testament is the story of God and man. The story of the little choo-choo that could, comic books, novelist Stephen King, scientists like Stephen Hawking, sapients like David Icke, they're all telling a story. Everything is in motion. What's the skinny? What's new? What's your story? Everything is in motion. And that reminds me of a story. You know, a poor man and God were walking together in the forest. You could feel the fresh air. And through the trees, the sunlight came in, casting shadows on the ground. You could smell the freshness. It was just wonderful. And as they walked along, the poor man turned up to God and said, God, what is time? God looked down. To me, a second is like 1,000,000 years to you. Well, they walked on a little bit farther. The day was nice, and again the poor man turned up to God. He said, God, what is money? God looked down at the poor man and he said, to me, $1,000,000 is like a penny to you. The poor man thought, and he thought, Then he looked up at God and he said, God, could I have a penny? God looked down at him. Sure. Give me a second. So next, I have an exercise for you. In a few seconds, you're going to learn everything there is to know about symbols. Pay attention. See if you're awake. See how fast you really learn. Well, I've really enjoyed this lesson. It's been a lot of fun. But I'm going to wrap it up right now. Just to reiterate, just to tell you exactly what we were talking about in this lesson, the secret of the second universal law, a law of vibration, says that everything is in motion. The secret is that you can change what happens to you by changing the words in the story of yourself. For instance, instead of saying, I can't, say, I may not be able to do this right now, but I'm going to do it. Or say, I will do it. Right now, follow me. Come on. Be a sport. Follow what I do. Take your arms, wrap your arms around yourself and say, wonderful, wonderful me. Wonderful, wonderful me. Come on, give it a try. Can't hurt you. Put your arms around yourself like this. Hold yourself and say, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful me. Good. You're doing good. Now, I'd like to see you try something else too. I want you to say this a few times. Say this. I feel terrific. 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 And finally, I want you to say this to yourself. Out loud, but to yourself. I like myself. I like myself. I like myself. I like myself. Wonderful me. Wonderful me. I feel terrific. I feel terrific. I like myself. I like myself. Thanks for watching.
I like myself. I like myself. I like myself. Wonderful me. Wonderful me. Wonderful me. I feel terrific. I feel terrific. I feel terrific. I feel terrific.